Mr. Chairman, you can start if you want to.
You want.
Open this meeting.
Gonna turn it over to me.
No, I want to make 2 items that are added to the minutes. The zoning and hearing board members met in executive session September 18th, 2024 to discuss personal matters. Second would be the Canton Independent Sentinel published their paper on Thursday, 29th of August, 2024 with inaccurate and untruthful front page heading with photo that reads, Borough appointed zoning officer. That article went on to state after executive session on Thursday, 22nd of August, 2024. The meeting was reconvened and I was appointed by the zoning hearing board as the new zoning officer. As soon as I was made aware of the situation, I called Joe Carrion directly and asked him to put an immediate retract and correct the inaccurate information. Sadly, the retraction or correction has not to this date been made. This published untruth has caused confusion, frustration, and many conversations which I have spent having to correct the error. I offer my apologies to those who reached out to me and thank them for their interest, concern, and time. I was nominated for and elected to serve as chairperson of the Hearing and Zoning Board. My request to Joe Carrion still remains not there. To be clear, the zoning officer is appointed by the Borough Council, which they did not have a contingency plan once they did what they did. We also have received no materials from the zoning officer regarding this application. So we have no material. At this moment, I'd like to go into an executive session.
Right.
Resume session.
Just so everyone knows, we had an executive session. We did not talk about the merits, we talked about the procedure. This is basically the problem. We have been left in the lurch by some of the problems in this borough that have not been created by this board. We work for the Borough Council. There are a couple problems that actually we don't work for them. We're a separate board, and we handle appeals from the zoning hearing officer. The problem we have, the board has, is that we do not have the packet, the recommendations, or whatever we usually have from the zoning hearing officer. I filled in and notified those of you that are here, plus another handful of people, posted the property, did what I could do till hopefully we could proceed. However, the members of the board are not comfortable with that, and probably rightly so. Therefore, what we are going to do, or I've been instructed to do, is to make the following motion, suggested motion, because I don't make them. But the suggested motion would be that we would deny this particular grievance, strike that, we would deny this particular appeal at this time without prejudice, allowing the Martins to reapply without cost to them. Once a zoning hearing officer is appointed and has time to review the situation. Does that motion meet the agreement of my board? Is that what you told me to do?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Why don't you vote on it then I'll explain what we're doing.
Before I vote, may I say something?
Well, no.
Okay.
Somebody has to make a motion
All
and a
right.
second, and then you may say anything you want to.
Okay,
Somebody gonna move to adopt that motion?
I'll move to adopt the motion.
You need a second?
Second.
Now, you can say anything you want to before we vote.
I really appreciate and I'm encouraged by the positive and cooperative spirit of the Martins with Frank Watson and with Alex Schrader and with other people who are interested in forming positive community growth. And I appreciate that. At this point in time, I feel like my hands are tied by a situation that somebody else created. And I am deeply dispirited by the hardship that's been caused both on this family and by this community. And I strongly encourage you to reapply.
Can
Where do we vote?
I ask a question? Well, I guess go ahead and vote. That's
Go ahead, no, you can ask, sure.
So was the council made aware that you probably couldn't make a decision tonight without that paperwork and a zoning officer, or at least the paperwork?
I have no idea what the council.
We've made some contact, we haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything. The problem you have, well, I'm gonna stop right there.
Right.
No,
It's okay.
Anybody else have any comments before we vote?
Question, reapply, a time frame. Give us an idea when, I mean, does
But we
it,
have to wait for a zoning
We have
officer
to.
to be
So-
appointed.
Whenever
council takes part.
Well,
See,
I'm
the
sure there's
problem
a
we have under the municipal
file in
planning
there.
code, we have to give you a decision in the next amount of days. I forget whether it's 45 or 60, but we have to. So if we didn't approve it or deny it, you'd just have a blank check up there, do what you wanted to, and we can't allow that. That's not our job, okay? We have
it might be what's coming.
A blank?
police it. And also, normally what would happen is a zoning hearing officer would put together all the things that you have and how we're gonna do that and measure the parking lots and do all that kind of stuff.
Well, that was in the email that I sent you.
I know, but we don't
You don't have it.
normally have them to check it, so we know what's coming in, okay? It
Yeah.
verifies what you're doing, and that's what we've always done, whether it's right or wrong, and that's what they wanna do this time.
So is nobody able to go in the office, because I know there's a folder in there with my name on it
Talk to the
for
council.
this.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's what I'm wondering, like, so nobody has contacted the
Nobody's given it to
council.
me. We've been sitting here running this, and we rescheduled this vote. When I rescheduled this hearing, I had assumed this situation would be taken care of by this time, but I guess it hasn't been.
Okay.
I have a question. So if you guys don't vote to deny,
We
if
are.
that,
They are
They
gonna
They are
deny.
denying.
Yeah. we're gonna
well, I'm
do-
saying if that fails, because you guys haven't made a decision yet, because you haven't.
Correct.
If that fails, they can go ahead and go forward with no worries about their parking lot then and open their business, right?
Correct. That's why we're doing it, yeah. Because we
And
don't,
this would only impact parking, correct?
correct.
It wouldn't impact anything else that, like, they
No,
wouldn't be
that
able
is
to do
not
it.
true. That is not true. This application will be voted on to be either denied or approved.
Right, and if you didn't come to a quorum and you didn't vote either way, it would only impact parking, right? It wouldn't be giving them I'm just curious, it wouldn't give them carte blanche to do whatever they wanted. It'd be whatever they wanted to do about parking, right?
No.
They, in order
Okay.
to get a
So they would be able to do anything they
In
wanted.
order to get a permit to proceed, they have to have a permit from the borough.
I need a parking variance.
And the parking, need a parking
Yes.
variance, and that's what they're applying for. That's a
Right.
condition to get anything done.
Yes.
That's why we haven't done
We haven't
any-
done
we
anything.
haven't lifted a finger
Well, I was
because
just curious,
Yes.
it's not like all zoning laws all of a sudden would go out the window.
No.
Yeah, it would only be that they would just be able to move forward because
Correct.
the council wasn't
That's correct.
and it would only impact parking.
That's correct. It would only impact their property and parking. Well, that's not true. It would impact their property and the neighbor's property, and it would could create a problem. And there are some technical issues that I've looked at. You know, what happens if they sell a house on a corner? What happens if Watson goes out of business? What happens if a lot of things happen? It's like, we have a lot of these situations that we have to look forward and see what kind of conditions we're gonna put on them.
So
Yeah.
I have another question. So if I purchase the Chinese restaurant in town that has no off-street parking, do I have to apply for a parking zoning variance to put a coffee shop in there?
We
You
don't
have
know.
to ask the zoning
The zoning
officer.
Yeah, the zoning officer.
And the zoning officer has to be a certified zoning officer with taking tests
I'm
and,
not prepared to
education.
rule on that, but that's fine. We have a motion, let's take care of it, please.
I vote to deny this appeal as your motion stands.
Second to deny as the motion stands.
I also deny.
So I guess remember though, I tried to take care of you as best I could. I don't want you to have to pay the money again.
Right.
I don't want you to have to, if we just denied it point blank, you might not even be able to reapply. So we want to make sure that it's a procedural matter that we're doing and you're allowed to reapply.
Without any more cost.
Okay.
Well, other than time delays, you're going to be sitting on it for 2 years, okay?
Well, it's been since February, so what's a little more time?
Thank you. You adjourn the meeting, sir? If that's your pleasure.
This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.